For 15 years, Bitcoin was supposed to die. China controlled it. Politicians called it a scam. Banks laughed at it. The media said that governments would never allow it. And remember, the future was supposed to be central bank digital currencies. Government money, government surveillance, government control. Well, fast forward to today. Congress is about to pass the most important Bitcoin legislation in history. The Senate just voted to make a CBDC ban permanent. And for the first time, the United States isn't trying to stop Bitcoin. It's building its financial system around it with the Clarity Act. Today, I'm going to show you why I think Bitcoin has already won. It's just not priced in yet. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go.
Биткоин кто может запретить? Никто. А использование других электронных средств расчета кто может запретить?
Let me translate that for you for those of you who just listened to this. That was Vladimir Putin saying in Russian that no one can stop Bitcoin. No one. No one can stop it as a digital payment network. And that's always been the truth. But that's not what you've heard for the past 10 years. Every day the media highlighted something about Bitcoin being controlled by China. Always reusing clips of Jamie Dimon and Elizabeth Warren saying that it's just for criminals, fraudsters. Governments will outlaw it. It'll never be accepted. For over a decade, the conversation was, how do we stop Bitcoin? And now the conversation is, how do we regulate it? How do we create frameworks around it? How do we build on top of it? That's a very different conversation. And now we are on the very edge of the Clarity Act passing, which isn't about crypto. It's about the government surrendering to the fact that Bitcoin is the future.
Major bill designed to create a clear regulatory framework for digital assets could soon be heading to the Senate floor for a full vote in less than 2 hours. The Senate Banking Committee's markup process on the Clarity Act set to begin. Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis is here, and she's the author and champion of that bill. She sits on the Senate Banking Committee as chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee. Good morning to you. Sounds like we're here. It's going to happen.
That's a fact. We've been working for over 9 months with Democrats trying to get this bill ready for today. It provides a regulatory framework that currently doesn't exist in the digital asset world. It's the Wild West out there. And that allows fraudsters to operate without a regulatory framework to respond to their illicit activity. It also allows legitimate players to set up shop overseas because they do have regulatory frameworks. This is a way to bring this industry into the fold into the United States, make it strong, robust, and serve the American consumer.
We're so close. We have to get this done. It's absolutely critical that we have federal standards for crypto assets. And right now, we've dealt with a patchwork of state laws and regulations, and it's really been bad for business here in the United States. We want to get this done so that we have certainty, clarity, and consumer protection. Should be a bipartisan issue. We've got to get it across the line.
That was Senator Lummis and CFTC Chair Mike Selleck. They're saying this thing has bipartisan support. It has to get over the line. The Clarity Act, in my mind, is nothing more than the government admitting that the future is already here. And either they get with it or they get left behind. Politicians don't suddenly love Bitcoin. They still can't control it. They're creating frameworks around it so that they can slow it down. But what they're actually doing is that they're seeding this idea of freedom money to 50 million Americans. The Clarity Act might just be the sly roundabout way that people steal power from governments, like Frederick Hayek said all these years ago.
I don't believe that we should ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. And we can't take them violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is, by some sly roundabout way, introduce something they can't stop.
A sly roundabout way to remove power from the system is to remove their ability to create dollars out of thin air. Well, how do you do that? You borrow against collateral that you already have. And you can do that with Ledn. If you already own Bitcoin but don't want to sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You get fiat in your account in less than 6 hours, and rates start at just half of what a credit card does. You stay sovereign, and in a sly roundabout way, you remove power from the system. No credit checks, application takes just 2 minutes. Get started with the QR code in the description. Remember CBDCs? When every headline said CBDCs are going to come? We need programmable money, digital dollars, money that the government can surveil to stop criminals. It felt inevitable. But fast forward till today.
The yeas are 84, the nays are 8. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn, having voted in the affirmative. Cloture on the motion to concur in the House amendment to the Senate amendment with an amendment numbered 5823 is agreed to.
That's the U.S. government signing into law a bill that will ban CBDCs until at least 2030. And that's the power of Bitcoin, influencing the conversation around should we have government money, fiat money, or honest money, sound money, truthful money. Fix the money, fix the world. It's simple. Bitcoin doesn't ask you to trust politicians or a bank. It says trust math. And so would you rather trust a CBDC or Bitcoin? And I think we're looking at the way that the U.S. government is leaning. This is a very important shift. And here's another question. I saw something hilariously funny. Do you want to trust AI or the companies that make AI? If you need more evidence as to why you shouldn't trust AIs or AI with your money, look no further. Anthropic just hired Ben Bernanke for their governance board. You know, the guy famous for printing trillions of dollars is now helping an AI company. If you needed more data on whether a collapse is imminent, look no further. There is no honesty in markets and there is no honesty in our system. And that's why markets need Bitcoin. And that's why it's not priced in. Remember we were talking about on Tuesday when the Japanese yen was crashing and the Japanese yen carry trade was unwinding? Markets were crashing. Everything was blood red in the Asian markets. And look, magically, everything is reversed. Isn't it amazing how these gigantic trillion-dollar markets work and just change overnight? The yen retraced against the dollar very quickly after everyone feared for the worst. And this shows us that markets are still massively manipulated. And so some of you are wondering, with the Clarity Act, and I believe that there's rightful reasons to think this, won't this just happen with Bitcoin? Aren't they going to be able to manipulate Bitcoin when they build the financial rails around it? That's not exactly how Ledn sees it playing out. Bitcoin isn't going to get bailed out because it's still an asset that the government knows that they fully can't control. Listen to this conversation between Ledn and Natalie in their latest podcast.
Do you think that the Clarity Act is going to get passed? Because I'm a little bearish on it actually happening this year.
I don't have a firm view. I'm kind of watching like that play out like anyone else. But I still, again, I think that, you know, while some of the aspects of it are useful, I think what really benefits Bitcoin is just simplicity, just like protections on letting people self-custody it, you know, ways to spend it in kind of de minimis ways that are not taxable to relieve the accounting burden. And things like that. A lot of this other stuff is more financial institution stuff, which is fine. But I think the market always wants the next thing. Like I remember, you know, one of our podcasts early on in this new administration was about this. You know, the strategic Bitcoin reserve was brought up. Right. And either on your show or others, I tended to fade it whenever it was asked. I mean, obviously it has to be asked because it was the thing of the time. And my view was, I think they're going to ring fence the Bitcoin they have, probably. I wouldn't bet on them just, you know, buying 1 million coins or anything huge like that. I'd rather be surprised at the upside than assume they're going to do that in my forecast. And yet there are a lot of people that were super hyped up about it. And I think we're kind of maybe not quite that situation, but I think that, you know, while investors are going to watch these things, and while especially certain companies have to watch the passage of this legislation, I don't think there's anything coming to save Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin has to kind of either its merits are going to be seen by the market, and it's going to be bought, you know, by players in the market, and they're going to take advantage of, you know, cheap sats and a lot of the fast money washed out, and a lot of the parts of the ecosystem deleveraged, and then it'll climb its way up, and then once it starts climbing its way up, that of course gets outside money interested again. That's what makes it become fast money. If something's, you know, bottomed and rolling up, you get again the technical chartists that come in and say that's actually a pretty good chart. You get the momentum traders, you get the FOMO traders, and you get all the marketing around, you know, Bitcoin one day reclaiming 100K and then reclaiming all-time highs, and it just kind of feeds on itself. And until then, I think the asset just has to survive on its own merits.
Bitcoin doesn't work like the Japanese yen, and I agree with Ledn. Bitcoin is going to have to stand on its own merits, which is how it always should have been. Nobody calls Bitcoin CEO. Nobody calls for an emergency meeting. No one's going to vote for another few million Bitcoin. No one's going to change the policy. And this is why it matters. And this is why you should think about securing your Bitcoin now. For when the inevitable collapse and crash happens, when the big print finally happens, you're going to be prepared. Your family's going to be prepared. You're going to have a node. You're going to have your own keys. You're going to be outside of the financial system when everything else is collapsing. Learn exactly how to do this the right way by speaking with a member of the team at the Bitcoin Way. They'll walk you through step by step exactly how to prepare yourself when the financial collapse happens in the current system. Schedule a free meeting with their team today by using the link in the description. The big thing that people are missing with the whole Clarity Act thing is this. Everyone was comparing the Bitcoin to all the wrong things, comparing Bitcoin to Ethereum, to Solana, to XRP. That's not Bitcoin's competition. Bitcoin's competition is the global monetary system, which we've been saying all along.
I want to ask you something very simple and personal. So what does Michael Saylor actually feel when he wakes up in the morning? And what it is that you're seeing right now that the market clearly isn't?
When I wake up, I feel invigorated by the mission, right? Fix the money, fix the world. And I feel quite blessed, actually fortunate to have discovered a mission that is meaningful. And my focus is, if you look at the 21st century, all of the great things that have happened are all digital transformations: digital intelligence, digital messaging, digital video, digital retail. A lot of digital stuff. And now we're on the verge of a digital monetary revolution. So if I look at Bitcoin, I think it's the dominant digital capital network of the world. That was what we observed in 2020. It hasn't changed. If anything, over the past year, Bitcoin dominance has increased. People used to debate whether the protocol was well suited to be a capital network. There's the block size wars. China controls it. China doesn't control it. It uses not enough energy. It uses too much energy. It doesn't have enough functionality. It has too much functionality. Ethereum is going to flip it. Solana is going to flip it. The Bitcoin Cash is going to do this thing or the other thing. It's going to be banned by the government. None of that happened. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is approaching 69, 70%. No one talks about the flipping anymore. There is the monetary proposition of every other crypto network has collapsed. Bitcoin's the winner.
When Saylor says that Bitcoin becomes the world's digital capital network, he's not talking about the price. He's talking about the infrastructure that the new financial world will be built on top of. That's just like the internet. Nobody invested in the internet because they thought it was valuable. Everyone invested into the internet because everyone built on top of the internet. The market declared its value. And that's exactly what's happening here. The Bitcoin dominance is high as it's ever been. And this is the network that the wealthiest people are saying this is where the next digital transformation is going to happen. And that's why Bitcoin is still misunderstood and not priced in as we sit here at 62K. The first stage of every technological change is ridicule. Then it's resistance, then it's acceptance and adoptance, which is the stage 3 that we're moving towards now. If we can't stop it, let's build on top of it. Bitcoin wasn't supposed to survive in the first place. It wasn't supposed to become an ETF. It wasn't supposed to become a form of collateral. It wasn't supposed to become a treasury reserve assets on people's balance sheets. And it wasn't supposed to become bipartisan policy in Washington. Yet, here we are. Bitcoin didn't change. America did. Politicians did. Bitcoin is an inevitable network that will not be stopped. And the world's largest economy is saying that we're going to stop fighting this innovation and start building on top of it. And that means the biggest gains are yet to come. But if you've been subscribed to this channel, you already know this. You've already been ahead of the game and ahead of the curve and have grown diamond hands as we've gone down to the 60K level. Bitcoin is an inevitable innovation that now the US government is putting their stamp on. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, so you don't get left behind for the next digital transformation happening right now in the financial system. And if you want to find more ways to acquire Bitcoin than just simply buying it, you should consider SAS mining. You give them money and they give you sats through Bitcoin mining. They help you buy a state-of-the-art machine that helps you to earn Bitcoin at a rate that you could buy it cheaper than you could if you bought it on the market. Use the QR code to get started with SAS mining today. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.